Tbilisi, the Georgian capital. Russia's war against Ukraine has changed the South Caucasus nation. The signs of popular opposition to Putin's aggression are everywhere. People here feel a great sense of solidarity with Ukraine. Now in their midst, young men who've left Russia, fearful of being forced to join the war their country is waging against Ukraine.
Some may call me a traitor, but I think those who go to war are the traitors. They're betraying their homeland and humanity. So who am I betraying? Putin. Yes, I'm betraying him, and now I've run away from him. I'm against this war. In this conflict, I'm for Ukraine. I mean it honestly and openly. They want to send me to my death for Putin's ambitions, for this notorious Russian world that's so alien to me. If they want me, they'll find me somehow. I'm not planning to hide. You know how they silence people who are against the war. My name's Alexander. I'm from St. Petersburg and I'm 26 years old.
Alexander worked as a lathe operator in St. Petersburg. When Russia invaded Ukraine in February, he joined a protest rally and was detained. When Putin ordered the mobilization in late September, he decided it was time to leave. He packed his things and fled.
I live here. This is our hippie community. This is my bike. I cycled over the Russian-Georgian border on it.
He had to wait at the border for 2 days.
I was afraid they wouldn't let me out of Russia. All along the queue, police were checking papers and threatening to issue conscription orders. But I didn't care. I just wanted to reach my destination. When we crossed the border, the sun rose. These mountains and freedom, freedom.
Once in Tbilisi, Alexander was in luck.
This is Uncle Enrique. He took us in and gave us clothes. I feel sorry for them. They don't want to fight. They don't want to die for Putin. If it wasn't for the mobilization, he wouldn't have come here. They didn't think it would come to this, that they'd run away like rats from a sinking ship. They're all intelligent and nice. Who's staying in Russia? I don't know.
As well as Alexander, 20 other young Russians are staying with Enrique. A bed costs them 300 lari, that's just over 100 euros a month.
Hardly anyone plans to go back to Russia. No one knows what's coming. We're in limbo. I want to stay here and wait for my girlfriend. Just live somehow.
For many Russian deserters in Georgia, it's better to live in uncertainty than risk being drawn into Putin's war. Unlike Baltic countries and Finland, Georgia hasn't closed its borders to Russians. Many Georgians take a skeptical view of this. What if Putin supporters or even spies are entering the country unchecked? The Ukrainian suffering is rekindling memories of the Russian-Georgian war. 20% of the country is occupied by Russia. It's the young people who seek closer ties with the West and fear that Georgia could again fall victim to Russian imperialist plans.
I see such a big, drastic change in the amount of people. I hear Russian constantly from all over, and it's really, really unpleasant. We had it for like 2 times. First was Abkhazia, then was 2008. They have invaded 2 parts of Georgia. I just simply cannot be warm and generous towards these people.
First of all, when they coming to communicate with you, talk with you, they starting to talk with you in Russian. Bro, it's Georgia, we can speak English, right? It's so respectful, it's so rude.
There's only one answer, that Russia is occupant and there's something like terrorist acts In Ukraine is the same, in Georgia is the same.
Of course, I appreciate that I'm a guest here, and that my country is also guilty because of its actions against Georgia. I understand that this could be a trigger for some Georgians, and that they might be suspicious of me because of that. But up to now, everyone's been friendly.
A memorial for members of the Georgian Legion killed in action fighting alongside Ukraine against Russia.
I don't see this war as a special operation. It's a war between freedom and slavery. As Ukrainians defend their country, they're also fighting for the freedom of many other nations. For the freedom of Kazakhstan, Moldova, Georgia. My name's Alexei. I'm 32 years old. I come from Cheboksary in the Chuvash Republic.
When Putin declared the mobilization, Alexei quit his job and withdrew all his savings. He knew he needed to get out as fast as possible. Along with other men, he boarded a minibus to Kazakhstan. The border was 800 kilometers away.
At the border, a Russian guard said to me, "Take off your cap." He looked at me and at my passport photo. I was in the army for 4 years before as a contract soldier. He said, "Okay, go on." I was lucky, maybe because of their sloppiness.
Alexei was a professional soldier until 2016. An experienced gunner, he was needed on the front line.
I was surprised that the conscription order wasn't sent immediately. It arrived after I'd gone. My sister sent me a photo on Telegram. I was happy. They were too late. You won't get me.
He's been in Georgia for a few weeks now, trying to make the best of things and settle into some sort of routine.
I live here. This is the kitchen. The pots and pans are for everyone to use. I was lucky. This is the cheapest hostel I found. Sure, it's not chic, but it has a shabby flair. Everything's gotten more expensive because of the mobilization. The prices are really high, but our hostel manager didn't raise the price out of principle.
After his years in the military, Alexei wanted nothing more to do with the Russian army. He preferred the life of a migrant worker. He simply doesn't understand compatriots who don't resist the mobilization.
They can't imagine what awaits them in war. That they're like a herd of animals. Rusting weapons, drinking, brawling. Just seeing it brings tears to your eyes. If they'd sent me to the front, there'd only be one way out, to be taken prisoner.
His mother would have preferred him to fight. Her opinions have put a strain on their relationship, says Alexei.
My mother said she would even go to war in my place, for the fatherland, she believes. NATO wants to conquer us, the US. I said to her, "What you're saying is a huge lie, all off the TV."
He feels safe airing his political views in Georgia. Alexei wants to go back to Russia, but only after the end of the war and a regime change. Not everyone manages to get a foothold in Georgia. After a month in Tbilisi, German decides to go back to his family. His wife wants to stay in Russia and won't leave.
Everyone here is advising me against it.
Aren't you afraid of being conscripted?
It's best not to think about it. I hope they won't force me to fight against Ukraine.
German has found out that he may be able to appeal against the draft. the Russian invasion of Ukraine is also a personal tragedy.
I was born in Tbilisi. My family on my mother's side lives in Ukraine.
Returning to Russia remains a risk for him and many other Russian men. It's just after 7 in the morning. German is on his way to the bus station. His children are waiting in Moscow for him. He tries to reassure himself.
I can see there aren't many people my age traveling to Russia.
Will the Russians even let him back in?
If they want me, they'll find me somehow. I'm not planning to hide. You know how they silence people who are against the war.
He feels like a stranger in his own homeland, he says.
There's a big difference between Russians here and in Russia itself. Here, most people understand and support you. In Russia, they don't.
It's 5 hours to the Russian city of Vladikavkaz. From there, German plans to fly to Moscow.
So many people suffering because of a single person. Let's hope it ends soon.
Alexander has made a number of friends in Tbilisi. He's still living at Enrique's and is looking for work. His girlfriend will be joining him soon. Also in Tbilisi, Alexei's looking for new accommodation and keeping afloat with casual work. His mother has now accepted his decision to leave Russia. They talk, but not about the war. German arrived in Moscow. He's now preparing to leave Russia again, for good.